What's up, everyone? Tara Roberts here with FantasyPros, bringing you my top 10 waiver wire ads for Week 18. This week's waiver wire list is a little bit more nuanced than usual because in Week 18 we've got multiple teams that could be resting starters, so there's some names on here that might surprise you. But before we dive in, step into the new year as a true fantasy football champion with Trophy Smack's championship ring. In Week 18, where only the most dedicated players remain in the fray, you've proven your mettle. If you're still battling it out, you're more than deserving of this stunning symbol of victory. To make this prize ring yours, simply subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel and comment on any video this week. Celebrate your hard-earned success and mark the culmination of your strategic journey with Trophy Smack's exquisite championship ring, a fitting tribute to your fantasy football prowess. Now let's go ahead and dive right in. Number 10, Pierre Strong. I warned you that there would be some strange names this week, and we'll kick things off with Pierre Strong. We don't have 100% confirmation yet, but it does seem like the Browns are leaning towards sitting their starters. Strong hasn't had a massive role this season, but he's been present, and he is the clear number 3 in the Browns running back room, and in small opportunities that he's had, he has looked good. And the Browns have a beautiful matchup with Cincinnati. The Bengals have struggled on defense, and even the third string option here should be able to take advantage of them. Number 9, Joan Johnson. Joan Johnson's season as a whole has been disappointing. He's dealt with injury, too much competition for targets, and inconsistencies in the offense. But we're finally starting to see what we had hoped that we would see from him this season. Tight end 1 snaps, targets, and touchdowns. Johnson is a big red zone threat, and it is finally pulling through. He's had a touchdown in each of the past 3 games, and over the past 2 games, he's seen over 70% of snaps. Johnson is a solid streaming option this week for people that are dealing with injuries or possibly players sitting out in those clinched playoff scenarios. Number 8, Michael Wilson or Greg Dortch. Arizona may be out of playoff contention, but they're playing to build on momentum for 2024. The Cardinals' offense is coming together just a tiny bit more as the season goes on, and the receivers finally made an impact last week. We saw targets increase and more success from rookie Michael Wilson, and Greg Dortch remained a steady presence. Because Murray played so little this season, we can assume that the Cardinals are playing at full force this week, and that's what we need in Week 18. The more reliable option here is Greg Dortch. If you want the solid play, the solid floor, go with Dortch, but the higher upside option is Michael Wilson. The Cardinals need to determine what his role will be in 2024, as they're expected to make an investment at receiver during the offseason. We could see another push of volume towards him this week, and he could be a sneaky play. Number 7, Demarcus Robinson. Week 17 was kinda messy for the Rams as a whole, and while Demarcus Robinson's touchdown streak came to an end, his hot streak didn't. Robinson had 6 receptions on 10 targets for 92 yards, 13.2 fantasy points because he lost a fumble. This is the 5th straight week for him with a minimum of 13 fantasy points, and for the 3rd straight week, he played over 90% of snaps. Robinson's production isn't a fluke. The Rams have integrated him as the clear 3rd option in this offense. Week 18's matchup is tough, but it's possible that both the 49ers and the Rams could opt to rest starters. Now Robinson could be included in that group, which is why he is further back on this list. But if it's Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua that are the primary receivers that will be resting, Robinson could be in line for significant targets. Robinson would be much higher on the list if we knew whether or not he would be a potential rest candidate this week. Number 6, Justice Hill or Melvin Gordon. The Ravens are another team that could sit starters or at least limit them. This one is a bit difficult to call because we don't know exactly how the Ravens see Justice Hill. Hill had the most fantasy points of all the Ravens running backs last week, but he only played 35% of snaps. Gus Edwards is the clear RB1, and Hill's value really comes in on 3rd down. So you'll need to play this one by ear. But we could see Gus sit and Justice Hill and Melvin Gordon lead the way. Hill would be the top priority ad here, but keep your eye on Melvin Gordon. He could end up being the back with the most carries. The Ravens play Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is fighting for a much-needed win. The game could be a little bit more competitive than you would think, and this would actually benefit Melvin Gordon. Before I dive into my top 5 waiver wire ads, are you one of many sports fans who are not ready for the fantasy season to end? Then you have to play Smashup Fantasy Sports, the fastest growing game out there. In Smashup, your fantasy team gets supercharged by Smash cards, which are like video game power-ups that you pick to boost the scores of your players or even your entire team. Think your kicker is going to have a big game? Then choose Big Kick Energy to power them up. Are you starting Justin Fields? Then play Scramble Spikes to score more from his running. Paired with cool visuals, Smashup is the biggest innovation in fantasy sports in a long time, and it really feels like it was designed for sports fans. And here's the best part. You can play for free and win fantastic prizes. No credit card needed, no hidden fees. All users receive 3 entries per week, but with our code FantasyPros, you'll unlock a 4th entry every week through the Super Bowl. So enter now at smashupsports.com and join the future of fantasy. Number 5, Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor could be the top streaming option in Week 18. Let's call a spade a spade. Philadelphia's pass defense is awful, and it can be lit up by literally anyone. Kyler Murray completed 25 of 31 attempts, a level of efficiency we hadn't seen from him this season. And he had 3 passing touchdowns, a season high from him. Tyrod Taylor is coming off a 300-plus yard game against the Rams, and he could repeat this week. And the good thing about Tyrod is that the Giants are out of playoff contention, and he is not a player that they need to sit for the future. And they've already seen what they have in Tommy DeVito. There is very little risk of Tyrod not playing a full game here. And quarterback that will play a full game in a good matchup, coming off a good performance, what more can you ask for in Week 18? Number 4, Darius Slayton. While you're adding Tyrod, you should look at his pass catchers. The most reliable option in the receiving corps is Darius Slayton. It's been tough to find reliability in this offense, but Slayton has been the closest to it, and he does have a history to back it up. And he is on a hot streak. 3 straight games with a minimum of 10 fantasy points. 2 straight games with a touchdown, and a total of 196 receiving yards over the past 2 games. He is a solid add in an excellent matchup. Number 3, Wandle Robinson. While Slayton is a solid add, the high upside add this week is Wandle Robinson. Robinson's upside is undeniable, and he's got the added benefit of versatility within the offense. He had 6 receptions on 9 targets for 55 yards and added a rushing touchdown as well in Week 17. The benefits to add him are the same as Tyrod Taylor and Darius Slayton. The matchup is excellent, and they should build upon last week's great matchup, and Robinson should play his full workload. Number 2, Jamal Williams. The Saints are still in the playoff hunt, but technically speaking, it is a very difficult scenario for them because it hinges on the Panthers beating the Bucs. And while we've seen improvements from the Panthers, not enough to think that they will beat the Bucs. And with that said, it is tough to imagine that Alvin Kamara is pushed to play this week through an ankle injury. If Kamara is out, Jamal Williams is the next man up. Williams had 19 carries for 58 yards last week and 4 receptions for 13 yards. Goal line opportunities are sparse within the Saints offense, but pure volume would make Williams a potential RB2. Number 1, Elijah Mitchell. Christian McCaffrey suffered an injury in Week 17, and there is 0 reason that he should play in Week 18. Elijah Mitchell has always been the next man up as long as he's healthy, and wouldn't you know it, he escaped Week 17 without an injury. And he had 17 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. Mitchell has produced RB1 numbers anytime he's had the opportunity, and this week is no different. Fantasy managers in deep leagues should also look at Jordan Mason. In the event that Christian McCaffrey's injury ends up being something serious, Mitchell could be the player that the 49ers need to rest and not risk getting him injured. Otherwise, Elijah Mitchell is the clear top priority add here. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to Fantasy Pros. And remember, step into the new year as a true fantasy football champion with Trophy Smack's championship ring. In Week 18, where only the most dedicated players remain in the fray, you've proven your mettle. If you're still battling it out, you're more than deserving of this stunning symbol of victory. To make this prized ring yours, simply subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel and comment on any video this week. Celebrate your hard-earned success and mark the culmination of your strategic journey with Trophy Smack's exquisite championship ring, a tribute to your fantasy football prowess.